Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since I've been able to make a video. The new semester started for my sophomore year of college, and it has been quite crazy, so unfortunately that's probably going to be the norm from now on. This year is supposed to be the hardest year, and so far it's been a lot harder than freshman year, so I've just been trying to make sure I keep up on grades and everything like that, but I finally got some free time, so I thought I'd make a video. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to get into what we're going to be doing today. All right, so today the plan is to start breaking down some materials to make some Damascus. I've got some lawnmower blades, both old and new, and I've also got some mild steel. I'm going to start. And I'm not sure how far I'll get because I only have a limited amount of time today, but essentially what I've got to do is get all that paint off, get all this rust off, flatten these out, get them cut into equal parts, and then I can sort of start stacking them with some mild steel. I'll start with the old ones. The nice thing about the size of these lawnmower blades is that they're long enough that I can just hold the other end of the lawnmower blade without burning myself. The heat, I mean, metal is the fastest conductor of both heat and electricity. But, relative to me, the heat actually travels pretty slowly. I mean, you can see on this one, the paint's only burnt to about here. And I don't know the rating of this paint, what heat it's supposed to be able to withstand. I'm sure it's nothing special, but that just means that this back here, I can't even feel it. So that's kind of nice. The thing is, these are tool steel, so I'm going to have to let this cool naturally here. So I'll just throw another one in. Now, the reason I wanted to do some Damascus, there's several different reasons. I have always sort of been interested in the material science of Damascus, and I think that with my skill level, I should be able to make some pretty cool mosaic Damascus. So I just sort of wanted to try it out. The other thing is that I actually have access to power hammers at where I work and at my school. So it's quite likely I will actually be taking this in the next video into my school to utilize the Anyang power hammer we have there. Because in the past I've tried fire welding, 6 different pieces all together at once, and it hasn't gone spectacularly. So I'm thinking, because I have access to the Anyang, maybe that will help me get that weld on the first try. Because essentially once you mess up a single weld, the whole bar is shot. And if you have a large surface area and a lot of force hitting that piece, it's a lot more likely all that's going to weld at once. It also just helps for drawing out purposes. So we'll see what develops with that, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So I recently redid the way the air travels in my forge, and as you can see up here, I accidentally burnt it because I got too comfortable with having a less powerful blower system. Likely, we will not be using that section. In fact, it's a guarantee, but it is easier to use if it's all flattened out, so I might as well flatten it out anyway. It's already hot, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, I don't have any high nickel steel for this Damascus. Ideally, you would have a high nickel steel because that's much, much brighter when it's etched than mild steel is. I'm hoping that the carbon difference is enough to tell. We will definitely see, though. And again, if this does succeed, it'll be my first successful Damascus, so I'm not exactly looking for the most groundbreaking Damascus ever, but it would be very cool to get a cool Damascus pattern for sure. I'm not sure what I want to do for the actual edges of these lawnmower blades. It's going to be very difficult to get them off if I try and grind them off. It's just going to take a long time, and I really don't want to do that. To cut them off with a cutoff disc would also take an excruciatingly long time. And I don't know. I mean, my other option is to just leave them there. Well, I could hot cut them off, but that would be even more of a hassle, and I don't have someone to hold the steel. So that would be probably the hardest way I could do it with no one to help. The other option is to leave the blades on, make the billet, and grind the blades off once the billet is made. And I think that's probably the path I'm going to take. So once I get this flattened out, I'm going to start hot cutting off sections and sort of truing the sides up and getting all these pieces ready, and then I'll cut some mild steel. Maybe we can do a mock-up of the billet. This is going to be probably a shorter video. I really don't have the time, for a half-hour video right now, because I also have to edit it within the next couple hours, and I'm a slow editor, so we will see how much I get through today and what I think I have time for. Okay. I'm going to put this end back in the fire and get the hot cut ready. I'm just going to use the handled hot cut for this. It'll allow me to make a much more precise cut, because you can't really see what you're doing with the hardy hot cut. But with this, I can sort of look at what I'm doing as I'm going. However, this is a soft hammer, unfortunately. Very soft, in fact. It's a little hard to tell probably from the camera, but even just using it today, the edges are starting to fold over on themselves. Unfortunately, when my teacher gave me the steel to use to make a hammer, he didn't actually know it was closer to mild steel than tool steel. So, unfortunately, the whole freshman class of last year have hammers that are pretty soft. So since then, we've pretty much all made new ones, and it's fine. Mine's at school right now, so I can't really use it, but it's a pretty simple process to use this tool. Basically, you just put it where you want it, and you hit the other end with a hammer. It's kind of like a punch, but it's just got a wooden handle on it. And it just allows for more precise cuts and longer cuts than with a hardy hot cut. There we go. I probably should have used a chisel plate there, but I don't have a chisel plate, and I really do not have the time or the desire to make one, so maybe I'll just slap didn't do any damage to the anvil, which is nice. I'll just slap down a piece of flat plate if I can find some here. Where is a little wedge I can use to get this up off the floor? So I've gone ahead and gotten the only piece of plate that I have that is not galvanized. I thought all of it was, but this piece is not. This will just be my chisel plate from now on, I suppose. The reason that you don't want to use galvanized metal when you're blacksmithing, or really with anything to do with fire, is that the coating is actually a zinc coating. And when you heat zinc up that hot, it forms zinc oxide as a gas. And that stuff is deadly. Deadlier than a lot of things. Like ammonia and bleach, that's pretty bad for you. That's pretty deadly. Galvanized metal, the fumes that come off of that are deadly in even trace amounts. So you do not want to be using galvanized metal ever for anything relating to heat. There are people that have used galvanized metal and have gotten all the coating off, but the process looked something a little like this. Essentially, they made a giant bonfire around some galvanized metal and got the heck away from there. Then, after it had cooled down the next day, they took it and scrubbed it with sandpaper. And then they put it in a vat of vinegar for 48 hours. And then once that was done, they scrubbed it with vinegar again. Or they scrubbed it with sandpaper again, rather. And after that, the metal had no coating left. However, that is not a guaranteed method, and it is quite obviously a giant hassle. So I would recommend just never setting foot near galvanized metal, because a lot of people have died over the years doing silly things with galvanized metal. It's pretty tragic, actually, because, you know, these people kind of knew that and just decided that they knew better, that they could somehow outwit a gas. I don't really know where the logic comes from there, but yeah, not a good thing, not a good way to go out. Let's just say it that way. So I got my first piece here. I'm going to cut it off. As you can see, I'm just bending it back and forth. Because this is tool steel, I mean, any steel does this, but if you work it back and forth while it's cold, eventually it will snap off. It'll happen quicker with tool steel because tool steel is harder and more brittle. There we go. There's our piece. And we're going to aim for this size every single piece we cut. But I'll throw this back in the fire. We might even be able to get 3 pieces if we're lucky out of each half of this saw blade. That would be ideal. I think for these next few sections, I am going to speed everything up because this is going to take a bit of time, and I've already done a lot of talking in this video. So I will see you guys in a little bit. search engine algorithm of YouTube. It's hard to get new people to look at my videos sometimes. So all of those things do boost my numbers and incentivize YouTube to actually show my content to new people. But yeah, with all that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.